Hello and welcome to this new set of lectures on learning the basics in this course on how to become a successful software developer. So, in this particular section where we have many lectures, we'll give you an overview of how to learn the basics. We're not going to actually make you learn the basics, but tell you how can you learn the basics, right? And we will begin it by talking about what basics to learn in this and the subsequent lecture. And then we will talk about how can you most effectively learn these basics. Right. So any thoughts on how can you learn the basics? There are many basic things are there that you can see, some of them that you can see here on your screen. So how would you go about learning the basics? Any thought? Before we do that, let's look at what basics to learn. The fundamentals of programming are essential concepts and skill that will provide the foundation for understanding and creating the software applications that you would be needed to do. Now, whether you are just a beginner or an experienced developer, mastering these fundamentals is critical for you to be able to develop those software applications. Now, how can you do that? Let's take a look at many things that you can do as we go forward. Right. So, first thing you need to do is you need to understand how to design and implement an algorithm, and that is the one of the most important things in programming. Now, this includes problem solving, breaking tasks into smaller steps, and creating logical solutions. Now, what is an algorithm for beginners? So, algorithm is a set of rules that help you obtain an expected output from a given input. Say, simple thing like plus minus plus sign or summation is an algorithm which basically takes the input of X number of data and produces a summed output. So, and this is the simplest form of algorithm. Now, there can be more complicated algorithm that you will create and you can create as you learn. So first to understand and implement how to design this algorithm is the one important thing that you need to learn in one of the basics that you need to learn. Then you need to learn about basic data types. What are the data types? Like data types like integer that you see as a full number without any decimal, floats with decimals, strings are a set of characters. Characters are any character in English language or any other language. And Boolean values. Boolean values are like the binary value. They have either true or false or 0 and 1 value. And what you need to do is to understand how to work with data effectively and efficiently. So that's another thing that you need to learn. Then you need to learn the concept of variable and memory storage. Now, and then you need to know how to declare, initiate, and use variables in your coding, right? Now, variables is important. Now, what is a variable? Now, variable, if we didn't have these variables, the computer programs will be very limited. If the computers did not have ability to remember anything, right? And variables solve this problem as it is a location in the memory that sets aside the stored information required by the program, a letter or number. So you declare a location, declare a name for that, and each variable has its own name and it can store any data that is being programmed, say 55. Now this data can then be called upon, used or changed as required. So that's a variable. Now, what is a memory? So it's basically memory is it needs power to keep its content modified. Well, the RAM, there two types of memory. RAM is one of the types of memory. RAM in the program is the example of a volatile memory. This means the data is not stored permanently, but is kept for a short-term use only. And data is cleared as soon as the power to the RAM is stopped. So it's based on the computer being on, you have the memory being used and is available to you. And this memory is fast to access and it's more expensive than the storage memory. Now, storage memory is more kind of permanent, more long term, and it keeps the content even when the computer is switched off. It's a non-volatile storage. And these storage holds the programs and data more permanently. Now, because the magnetic and optical storage works mechanically, it is slow compared to RAM, which is electronic, and hence we need both of these to use at different places, and you need to understand the concepts of variable and memory. Then you need to master the controls, conditional statements, if, else, switch, hoops, loops, like for, while, do, while, etc. And this is what is required to control the flow of your language. So you need to understand these conditional statements, loops, and do, while loops, etc. In learning your fundamentals of programming. You also need to learn how to create and use functions. It's functions, which is a set of steps to create an action, right? A summation is again a function, or a method to encapsulate the code for reuse and modularity, right? So these are the things that you need to use, and you can take a look at these in more detail as you can download these PDF files and take a good look at what these things are that you need to learn. Get a first-hand idea. You don't need to be put yourself in a position to learn now, but know what to learn. So the emphasis of this lecture is to tell you what to learn that you need to do in basics. Then familiarize yourself with the fundamental data structures like arrays, lists, dictionary, and sets. There are four types of data structures that you need to understand. And what you need to do is understand how to manipulate, how to use and organize data efficiently. Then understand the principles of object-oriented programming, OOP, right? So, and this is one important thing that you need to understand. And in this, you need to understand the various concepts like classes, objects, inheritance, encapsulation, polymorphism, etc. OOP or OOP is a widely used, it's in a modern software development. So one of the important thing is to develop the various concepts of OOP. Also need to learn how to handle errors and exceptions gracefully to make your code more robust. Your program that you write will make errors. So how to handle those errors in the program. Now there will always be these errors in the program, and it is your job to anticipate error when you become a programmer, and then to make the program to handle these errors properly, gracefully. Now your users won't be able to understand the technical jargon. So from the program, the message must go that users can, that something has happened that should not have happened, and which will be taken care in due course of the program, and your programming must do that. So you need to understand the error handling also. Also you need to understand, your program will consist of a processor, and data, and your input output devices. So you must be able to read and write to the files, as well as know how to react with users, how to interact with users through command line interfaces or graphical user interfaces. So these are the two bases of interfacing with the computer. One is GUI, graphical user interface, or command line interfaces. Directly you enter the command in the core of the computer program. So you need to understand how to read and write the files and interact with the users through the command line interfaces and GUIs. Also, you need to develop the skill to identify and fix errors in your code, learn testing techniques and practices to ensure code quality, because your code must be of the required quality. So you need to learn testing techniques and practices, and then identify and fix errors in your code. So having looked what are some of the things, some of the basics that you need to learn, what do we do next? So in the next we will look at more things that you need to learn as basics, and then we will take you to how to learn that in the subsequent lecture. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture on learning the basics. I hope you continue to continue to enjoy learning, continue to learn new things, and I do look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions that I can answer for you, and download the PDF file to take a look at few things that you may be wanting to look at, have a deeper look.